like now we're gonna have a world champion of just like the two most okayest drivers, while the superstars are fiddle around with teams that don't know what they're doing.
Welcome to the Money Lap.
I kind of look up mid taco bite.
You don't know disappointment. Talking all things motorsports by two real drivers.
I appreciate being called a gritty driver.
With many, many years of experience.
We've had to do that other people didn't want to do.
The most dedicated host in the motorsports podcast world.
Weren't we supposed to have somebody come on our show as a guest?
No, we did it.
Did we?
Yes.
Yes, for our 1 year anniversary.
And we definitely know what we're doing.
Remember, talk through your mic.
I'm talking past it like this.
Well, if you just pointed it differently. Never mind.
Oh,
Let's
the
talk
stand
about
of
race
his mic.
cars. God's
This
sakes.
is our worst show ever.
Hello, welcome to the Money Lap. I'm Parker Kligerman, joined as always by Landon Cassill, who's no longer just a car dealer. He was a race car driver again. Last week, got back behind the wheel, finished second at Hawkeye Downs, and I can't remember what the class is, Landon, but my plan worked where you had asked me to do this race. I bowed out because I'm a loser, and you were forced to have to drive it. What was it like?
Yeah, you hosed me into driving, but it was fun. It was fun to get behind the wheel, and I finished second. That part wasn't fun.
No. Did you get a
No.
sniff of the lead at all?
It was close. It's it's a small competitive class at a quarter mile. It's a short race, and I started sixth. The guy that won started fourth. And it's kind of like one of those races where it's a 15 or 20 lap race, I think, but it's really a 4-lap race. You know,
Off the start.
yeah, it's just about who gets to the front first. And I wanted to. The best way to pass is to just go top of 3 wide on some of the slower cars with the whole invert and everything. And with the fastest guy in the field starting in front of me, I didn't want to just follow him around the outside, right? Because it was like, well, if I just follow him, then I come out in second, and it's gonna be hard to make a pass for the win. So, kind of tried to jam middle on a couple spots, went down to the bottom, couldn't get my nose in there, get a hole, and after 3 laps, I was in second. So that was the end of that.
Now you were P2 in hot laps.
I was
finished
just a
in your
second
heat.
place car all night.
Yeah, you crossed the board. Second place.
Second
Easy
place car all
average.
night. Yep. Yep.
I think
it
not
was
bad. What was the last time you drove a race car before that?
Xfinity race in Phoenix.
In 22. Wow.
Finished fourth.
Bam. So we got a great average going. right
Yeah,
now.
I mean 2 top 5s in my last 2 races.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one of them was a NASCAR race, one of them was a sport mod.
Yeah.
But we're on a top 5 streak, so
Hey, they all end under a checkered flag. So
that's right. It was
they
fun.
all mean
It was
something.
a fun night.
Yeah, that's cool. Good crowd.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. Hawkeye Downs got a couple more races. Their season's wrapping up, and then we're covering it in dirt. So the joke's really on you, because now when you come out to Hawkeye Downs, you're gonna have to race on dirt.
I can't wait. I've loved it.
It's not permanent, but yeah, this is it's not permanent. We're just doing a dirt at the Downs to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Speedway.
Wow.
Because it used to be a dirt track.
100th
back in-
anniversary. You're right there with
Yeah.
the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You have more history than Daytona International Speedway.
There's a lot of history at that track, so it's really cool. There's I don't know the full schedule. I'll have to get the full schedule, because it's several weeks of racing. It's not like just one event.
Cool.
So I haven't really committed to anything yet on that. I am interested in driving in one of the nights, but haven't
Hey,
really committed to anything. But you should definitely.
the itch is back. It's
No, I just I'm just
Oh,
interested in running run on dirt. So I think it just would be fun.
You heard it here, folks. That's the start of the addiction and disease for driving race cars. It's just like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'd run that. Well, what about that? Oh, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah, I'd want to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, what if I just did this more often? Huh, what would that look like?
Yeah. Well, I just bought one, so it's okay. I'm just gonna race 2 times a year.
I got to get her money's worth. We got to use it.
All right.
Just bought a car. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad. That's very cool. I'm sorry to the Hawkeye Downs patrons that I couldn't be there, but I'm glad it was a good, solid replacement. Of course, I would have won, but second's pretty cool. So that's good for you.
Yeah. You would have won.
I don't know. I have no idea what a sport mod is. So I'd be learning on the fly in that sense. Just some housekeeping. We've said this last week, but a heads up, we will not have a money lap next week or the week after. We're on our 2-week summer break. We've joined F1 in this. We'll be back the last week of August. I will be away. I'm going on vacation after the Watkins Glen race this coming Friday. And I leave the next Monday to go to Italy, which would be cool. Looking forward to it. So if you're looking for a Money Lap episode, the next 2 weeks, they won't be there. We're not doing them. Everyone's taking a break.
You know who will be there, though?
Who's that?
SpoilerDiecast.com.
No way.
If you're a racing fan, just like us, check out SpoilerDiecast.com. They are crushing it. One of the fastest growing diecast and racing merch companies out there for good reason, Parker. They ship same or next day. So your order is not sitting in limbo forever. I can vouch for that personally because I made an order just a couple weeks ago and it was fulfilled right away. We had a couple Indy cars. That's right. They sell all kinds of stuff, over 1,900 products. You heard it, Indy cars, NASCAR, F1. Yeah, they got some dirt sprint cars, a little bit of everything. So free shipping on orders over $100 and get a free NASCAR t-shirt of just a random driver. You just kind of comment your size in the order notes and they'll snag one out of their pile of classics and give it to you. Use promo code MONEYLAP for that. So if you're looking to rep your favorite driver, Parker, SpoilerDiecast.com, use promo code MONEYLAP, get your free shipping and diecast while supplies last.
Thank you, SpoilerDiecast.com, for allowing us to do this and to pick and choose our schedule. Like when we didn't record this past Monday, we're now on a Wednesday, August 6th, and we're just doing it here. So it's what we get to do. We don't work for anyone, just Spoiler, and they're pretty lenient. So super sweet. One thing you won't see on there, before we dive into everything for this past weekend, looking ahead, it's my birthday on Friday, and the only reason I bring that up is we had an early birthday celebration with my family, and my girlfriend Shannon got me the single coolest gift. She took all of my columns I've written on different websites, Jalopnik, NBCSports.com, The Autopian, and a couple other.
Asked an AI to write just one big masterpiece.
Well, basically, yeah, one thesis. No, she basically collected it all into a book, like a real book, and it's called Left Turns and Right Words. And right is obviously WRITE. Unbelievable. Coolest. It looks like a real book, whatever. It's 183 pages, of which some are back to front. So cool. Front and back. So she was like, I think this would be more than 200 pages of stuff I've written over the last few years. This started back in 2013. So it's been over over a decade, but coolest gift ever. So you won't find that on SpoilerDiecast.com, nor am I planning to write a book anytime soon. But this was super cool. And I was like, shit, we should probably put these out there or something. This thing is amazing. And the name, I couldn't get over the name, the play on words and everything. I was like, that is incredible. So,
that is awesome.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Shannon. Thank you. What should we start with? We're on Wednesday, August 6th. Like I said, it's a little tough to head too far back, but the conversation post Iowa has been all this fuel mileage racing on the short tracks. You got Denny Hamlin, who is like, the track sucks, the car sucks, everything sucks. Kevin Harvick, similar sentiments right now. The funny thing is,
why is fuel mileage on a short track a bad thing? That's like special. That's unique. That's cool.
So I was of the same opinion. I watched it and I was like, yeah, they can't really get by each other. And I know it's hard to pass and the leader only is in jeopardy if he catches traffic, which he eventually does. But somehow, all this fuel mileage talk, it is new. It's different that it's happening in the places that it does. Excuse me. But I think the thing that has happened with the TV broadcasts, especially at the behest of Steve Letarte, who's such a brainiac about fuel mileage and strategy, is he had that burn bar with Amazon, and NBC has, the fuel mileage calculators and the fuel amount that's still there is the networks are getting very smart about covering this stuff. Hold on, I have something in my throat. Oh my gosh, this never happened on here. I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, I think they've gotten really smart about it, and it's made it into like a very entertaining broadcast when there's this tension of like, hey, is this guy going to make it? Who's still got fuel? Some of it might be unfounded because the only thing is, in every one of these fuel mileage things since Joe Logano a year ago went 900 miles further than we thought he could at Nashville, it seems like they can go so much further than we think. No matter how much, basis we have in terms of how long they were on pit road and what we think their fuel is and what we think their fuel mileage is, it's just like they continually can stretch it because the teams have such great understanding of throttle position from the data that they correlate that through algorithms and that sort of thing to give them exact fuel mileage. And obviously the drivers are being instructed to understand this. And so all these things are acting, are as anything in racing, once it becomes the thing, everyone gets super smart at it, right? And super efficient. And that's what we're seeing in real time, where people are becoming incredibly efficient at fuel time on pit road and fuel usage by the driver. I thought it was interesting.
Do you have any, other than you just kind of explained it, but to peel back another layer there, do you have any more insight as to what new things drivers and teams are doing to get better fuel mileage or even just get a better understanding of what's going on?
It's a great question. I don't have many particulars other than I know with the super speedway racing, right? As that became a fuel mileage affair, they have the ability to see their actual throttle percentage on the dash, right? So they know at all times what throttle percentage they're running. They've already been told what throttle percentage to run and what times and how much fuels that is using. And obviously the teams can see that in real time through the SMT data, which is giving them real time throttle position sensors and that sort of thing to understand exactly how much fuel is being used. I'm sure there's engine tuning and that sort of stuff that can be done, right? And I think it's more, I don't know if there's anything incredibly unique being done. I think it's more the idea that it's become so important and it's obvious that it's really the way to win these races right now. Because of that, necessity is the mother of invention. Teams and the drivers have become super smart about understanding what they need to be doing, how much throttles, what is the actual throttle position, what affects fuel mileage the most. And because you constantly are seeing this as a game of how risky do you want to be on pit road in terms of that final fuel stop of when do you think you can make it to the end and not be on pit road anymore, right?
One broader thing that's interesting about this is like how I love all this technology and I love the analysis. I love what they're accomplishing with it. And it's very cool. But then it also makes you wonder is this the kind of stuff that just is like we've lost our way in terms of stock car racing? Is this detrimental to the purity of stock car auto racing?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is, isn't it?
Let's be honest. If
we want
if this was the old car with the 5 lugs and the changing tires still takes 15 seconds or 12 seconds to 10 seconds, and we understand how fast fuel, maybe fueling speed is not important, and you can pass and the tires fall off so much, none of this shit matters. We don't talk about it, except in places where it did in the past, which is your, 2-mile Michigan oval sort of style, right? And road courses. Poconos, where you can pit and stand. At least Pocono, you can pit and stay in the lead lap, right? It's going to be a question there.
Man. We should if we had Mark Martin on the show right now, he would just be, agreeing with it. It would just be a whole hive mind of agreements. But
how do we play the other side? Let's talk the other side.
I just love, I don't know. I love the technology. I love that stuff. It's so cool. Innovation is so cool. I have this feeling in my bones that NASCAR's core principle, one of NASCAR's core principles, is just like the simplicity, or should be the simplicity, and we lost this years ago, right? But the simplicity of a stock car, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, production vehicles aren't simple anymore. So maybe there was like a total deviation that's not entirely NASCAR's fault, right? When road cars became more technologically advanced and all this stuff, but like what I would give for the Cup Series to just be a driver in his car, you know, and you
Mhm.
don't have all this technology and you don't have all that stuff, and the team sort of has to figure it out, but they don't really have all that. They don't get all the information that they have right now, right? That
Yeah.
calculating fuel is literally like weighing the fuel can and dividing it by how many laps you ran. Right? Like that's it. Like
Used to be the only way,
that's the only
right?
way.
And
You
maybe you
know?
tuned the carburetor for better fuel efficiency, and you had to just hope that that was going to play out in the end, right? When you went to Michigan or something like that.
Right. You
I
know, and it's
think,
just like I don't, and everybody, the new hats will say, "Well, oh, take a step backward, this and that." And it's like, I don't know. I guess maybe it is a step backward. Maybe the 80% of the fans out there are watching because they're attracted to the technology. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not.
I think motorsports is tough, and we've had this discussion before because
You
it
can't
is,
unlearn this stuff.
well, that, and it is by far the most dynamic sport in the world in terms of everything is going to change. And you're not even, if you could just be beamed back into 2001 or 2000, you're going to see a sport that you maybe recognize of what you see now, right? Yeah, it's a bunch of cars going in circles, but that's about where the similarities end, right? And I think the it's going to continue to evolve. And to your point, it's just that's the nature of motorsports. It was built and it was designed to be first to see who could build the best car and the fastest car. And then it became a marketing exercise that if you could build better cars than your competitors, you could maybe sell more cars. And it grew into an entertainment product that then became a marketing entertainment product and now is sort of just both. And, NASCAR is probably the epitome of trying to be entertainment and a marketing product, as opposed to some of the other racing series like an F1 that's trying to be technologically advanced and to, push forward new technology, although they've gone down more of the entertainment path in years recently. I think it's back to this other thought process of like with racing series and a racing product, there's so many things you can't control, right? You can't control the evolution of time and the increase in knowledge and engineering and that sort of stuff. And you can try and you can spec parts and, put more rules in place and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, there's the nature of competition is going to drive innovation and can drive
Right. They'll find a way.
engineering, the ideology that's going to say, hey, if I can figure out this thing better, we will go faster. We can win races, right? And that's where I go back to for a racing series. I was thinking about this, listening to Denny Hamlin's podcast. Shout out to our one listener, Denny Hamlin. Appreciate you. He was talking about Goodyear tire this past weekend, how it had zero fall off, and that they had a tire at the test that had 2.5 seconds of fall off, and this one had zero. And how did they end up here? And I just keep coming back to this thought of like, when you're sitting in the chair of NASCAR or F1 or IndyCar, and the core part of your product you just can't control, but this one singular thing that can affect the product and the entertainment value and what the product looks like, that's literally where the rubber meets the road, is the tires. Why do you leave it in the hands of a third party like a Goodyear or a Bridgestone or a Pirelli, when really you should, if obviously you don't want to learn how to build tires and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But if you're just looking at it from like almost a business point of view of like, hey, I want to control the variables of my product, why rely on a third party supply chain when you could vertically integrate that and control the tires? And if you could control the tires, never would that tire that went had zero fall off be chosen over the one that was 2.5 seconds. Because my point being, maybe you go to, obviously Goodyear knows how to build tires. NASCAR itself doesn't have a division that knows how to build tires. White label tires, find some other manufacturers willing to do that. and then open it up. Yes, some will say, well, you lose all the marketing dollars of Goodyear. Fine. They can still sponsor things. They can sponsor cars. They can sponsor some teams' tires. Make it open. You want to have Bridgestone sponsoring a tire? Fine. They don't make the tire, but they can be on it. You can have a Bridgestone car. You have Bridgestone tracks, whatever. But the tire comes from a decision from the NASCAR, its group, its people, and its sole design of this tire manufacturer is to make entertaining racing.
God, wouldn't that be cool?
Thanks for that. Really, I just went on a real rant and you just killed it. All the momentum. Did it even get you excited?
Well, I guess I'm. Are we talking about how NASCAR should privatize the tires? Is that the topic?
No, I mean this went completely off the rails. But I just had the thought. I know we're talking, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, God, like if I, was sitting in a room, just like, what can we try and control so that we can try and create this, replicate a product week to week to week? It's like,
I get what you're saying.
How do we do that?
I get what you're saying, and I actually liken it akin to the broadcast, where there has been suggestion over my lifetime that's like, hey, who should own the creative strategy of the broadcast, right? Or the creative direction of the broadcast? What is it? What kind of risk is it for the league to essentially, or sanctioning body, whatever you want to call, however you want to refer to them? What kind of risk is it for them to put the creative direction of their show in the hands of a network who may have a different point of view on how to display your product, right? And I don't know if NASCAR's ever gone. I mean, I think they're the closest they've ever been right now to having a little more control over their creative direction. Is that right? You know this better than I do, but like,
I think a great template for that is they produce the races for CW. That's NASCAR Productions.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at here.
And they do, I think there's a lot of people that love the CW broadcast because you've got.
And I think F1. I think F1 kind of went through this with broadcast.
Yes, they did.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it was like they had, who was broadcasting F1 before that did a horrible job?
Well, they had what they did in F1.
And when F1 took over the crew, like the actual production of the broadcast, you had F1 people who knew F1.
Yep.
Directing these shows.
Well, what you're referencing in F1 is in the mid 2000s was the end, maybe until the 2010s. They actually had like international broadcasters would become like the production of that weekend, right? So you'd be watching on Speed Channel or whatever, and they had, the director is someone in Italy who's directing one F1 race a year, right?
Right.
And you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah, guys, no idea.
They brought all that in-house, all that production.
Right. But in-house, even to the point that F1 has more control over how they want to portray their product. What's important to the show.
Yep.
What's important to the storylines. And it's people within the industry, not necessarily coming from the entertainment industry going, oh, well, this week I'm doing a tennis tournament and next week I'm doing an F1 race. Right. It's like, no, it's people from within the racing industry that are like, yeah, we're putting on this show. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So NASCAR kind of having their own similar version with that, with you were saying with the CW broadcast. You've experienced it and seen it, and over the years where it's like, oh, Fox wants this, but they don't know it. It's like they really don't know what's best. They don't know the best way to explain this, right? Or to tell this story. Anyways, I say all of that to say tires, right? Like, what if what your suggestion is, which is a total utopian vision, but I love the idea, which is like, how hard would it be to just have a tire manufacturer that did nothing but make racing tires? That's all they focused on.
Yep.
Like, and for the sole purpose of making the best racing tire. We're not trying to sell the tires. We're not trying to brand, we're not trying to protect some retail facing brand, because that's a huge part of Goodyear's
100%.
battle, right? Like, gosh, we've talked about this on the show so many. It's been a while since we've talked about this, but like, I mean, that's a huge part of why Goodyear can't make, just simply has to balance tire fall off. Like, it's literally in the way we describe it. If you were Goodyear trying to sell millions of tires a year to retail customers for their road vehicles, and your number one marketing platform has your tires with your name on it, and they wear out and blow up in the middle of every race, what kind of marketing strategy is that? Yeah,
It's not a
tune
good
into
one.
NASCAR to see who's complaining about their tires. Oh, my Goodyear tires wore out too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I need to buy another set of tires. Yeah, that's not a great marketing strategy.
No,
So,
and I think they're in a bad. I think no one's
it's
ever gone from
definitely
their
a
side.
conflict of interest.
Well, yeah, they're in a
Definitely.
conflict of interest. They're in a horrible position. Every one of these tire manufacturers is in a horrible position. And I think it's just the series have not gotten creative enough about how can we leverage this marketing tool, of which is a great portion of cars and auto racing, which is tires, and just say like, hey, time out. You don't have to worry about this anymore. You don't make the tires. You don't even have to be sponsored on the tires. You can sponsor cars. You can do anything else. But we're taking over tires. So if they blow up every 5 laps, that ain't on you. That's on us. Don't worry about it.
Right.
I think control the product more.
What a dream.
Yeah. And
What
it's
a dream.
utopian.
And they need to get rid of simulation, and they need to get rid of SMT, and they need to get rid of.
By the way, you got to shift your mic to your face.
Sorry. I turned it and moved it away a little bit so I wasn't popping it as much, but
No, you're not
since you
popping.
complained, you're just gonna have to deal with the popping.
No, I didn't complain. We changed all the settings. We haven't done.
Okay, sorry.
You forgot. We did things for this. Josh isn't here, but we do have AJ Henderson with us today as producer, Money Lap video guy. And so you might hear a voice chime in. Don't hold back, AJ, especially if we've gone too long on something that you don't find interesting. Let's talk a couple more things from the Cup race. What was I going to bring up? Basically, just that the playoffs is coming into line or into sight here, and you've got basically Brad Keselowski, who was fighting for a win, Chris Buescher, who's inside the playoffs, and Ryan Preece, the third RFK car, right outside the playoffs. Basically, it's like if Brad is to win a race, he knocks both his cars out of the playoffs, and the other two are fighting on points to make it, which if one of them wins, especially if it's Preece, he knocks another one of his teammates out. So it's definitely a very interesting position for RFK to be in. You don't have a comment.
Of being just okay.
And now you moved your mic again. No, it's got to be
the cost of being just okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Poor Brad. I want to see Brad win, but I feel like we're having this conversation over the last 3 years and for the next 3 more years of like, Brad was in a must-win situation, was so close, battling for a win. It's got to be that win.
I don't, in terms of NASCAR Cup Series, we'll see what the road course brings, but congrats to William Byron. He won this. I think we just dove into the bigger topics because it's a Wednesday. You've heard about everything that happened this past weekend. We'll see what happens coming up.
Speaking of road course, did they move the restart line at Watkins Glen?
They did. We were just about to get into that. So they moved it to before the final turn there in turn 7. And because it used to be on the front stretch.
Why?
Chaos. I don't know. Yeah,
we want less chaos.
String out the field more, I guess.
So we want like F1 looking ass restarts.
I haven't understood
take
this.
Off like 3 corners before the.
I'll be honest. Like they did it at Coda and they did a couple places to spread the field out. And of course, it's caused less wrecks, and it all was a reaction to, you remember, what was it, 2 years ago, the Coda race that Jenson Button was in, where it was just mayhem into turn 1, and the Indianapolis race, which was mayhem into turn 1. And I was like, well, it's kind of NASCAR racing.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the product,
I guess.
Yeah. I'm not as big a fan of it. I will say this, like this weekend as a competitor, if I'm running up front and you want to protect that position, love it. I'm like, sign me up. Put it as far back as you want. Put it in a corner. I don't care. Like, I'm like, spread us out. But definitely, if you're watching, I don't know if I find it as exciting. I was just thinking, anything else there? No. Okay. Moving on. Let's talk F1. McLaren accidentally giving Norris the win at the Hungarian, which is a bit of a joke. We're kidding. He did the one stop, the Oscar Piastri's two stop. Charles Leclerc, who won the pole, fell off big time. There's been some theories and rumors about why the Ferrari fell off so hard after putting on their second set of tires. No confirmation of any of those rumors are true. Some are, they weren't going to meet minimum heights, so they raised the tire pressures, stuff like that. I don't know. But this battle continues, and you and I picked Lando Norris to win because it seems that when one ups the other one ups the next weekend.
Did you so we were watching that race, not together, but at the same time. So we were kind of live texting each other. So I just want to revisit, first of all, great race. Love the strategy, love the unknown, love the pace that Piastri was catching Norris at the end there, and Norris having to put together just absolute perfect laps. Piastri made a bozo move for the lead.
Yeah, end. That looked like a Norris YOLO overreact. Yeah.
What the hell?
Not sure about that one.
I mean, I feel like he maybe could have he was just chipping away at it. I mean, obviously he was within a half second, so he had DRS. And I'm not at all suggesting he needed to wait another lap, but he had one more lap. He had maybe two more shots at it.
Mm-hmm.
And he went for it, but full send went for it. And it wasn't close. It wasn't going to be close. In fact, the only thing that he was close to was taking out both of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Into one.
And it was and I was like, just like that. Race is over. Good job.
Yep.
I'm picturing that highlight and then still crowning him as world champion later this year.
You have a problem with that?
I have a problem with that. It's not a world champion move.
But neither of them have made particularly world champion moves.
No, Landon
Norris
hasn't
has been
either.
Sloppy.
They're just fast. And I'm afraid that now we're going to have a world champion of just the two most okayest drivers winning. One of them they're battling for the world championship while the superstars are fiddling around with teams that don't know what they're doing.
That's good. I mean, I don't know if they're okay. I mean, they're both incredibly quick. I would say that, but the racecraft amongst the two of them has been interesting, to say the least. I'd say Piastri has been far more stable, but that move that you're talking about into turn one definitely showed.
It was not a world championship
desperation.
Move.
Yeah, it showed a bit of desperation. The only thing I could factor was he was trying to almost trick him into staying wider at that point and maybe not turning in fully, but it was he's going to turn in there not 100 times out of 100 times. So it's just no.
That was the kind of move that tells me I'm going to make this move. I would only make this move on my teammate because I think my teammate will cut me a break that other people wouldn't.
Yep.
Right. And then they wreck each other and go, we're teammates. What was that? And it was well, you would never have done that to somebody that's not your teammate.
Oh, man.
And so, I don't know. We've seen incredible racecraft out of Lando. He hasn't. Lando has I've seen very, very many times. I think we've even gone over it, reviewed it on this show. He has a really good ability to reshape the corner and make some awesome moves on people. I could literally run a highlight reel of him making passes in the hairpins and stuff where he's completely moved the min speed around the corner and reshaped the corner to accommodate. But for Lando, we've been seeing him make these mistakes in high pressure situations. This time the shoe was on the other foot. Piastri with this YOLO move with a lap and a half to go still had two more shots at it. I know it's hard to wait, but he was so much faster. I think he really could have got there.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasted it. So I don't know. It was kind of If nothing else, maybe it just means that this chase for the Drivers' World Championship is going to be even more interesting because they still have a lot of season to go. When we talked about this last week, they got a lot of season.
More interesting, basically. And they did get 1.2 million viewers on the F1 race, but I think it will be if they keep kind of showing some rough edges, right? It's not just absolute domination. And I love the back and forth because it's kept the championship tight. And
well, they race like that. They're going to, with as many races as there are to go, if they race like that and have 8 more shots at a finish anywhere near that type of finish, there will be one where they end up wadded up.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll make things really fun.
Yep.
If they end up both coming back on the hook. Gosh, if they could do that, like with 4 or 5 weeks left to go in the season, they both have to ride back in the ambulance on the hook. That'll make it fun.
I love when you just
by ambulance. I meant like that's what you have to do when you're done regular. I don't mean like they're hurt.
Yeah, sorry. Good clarification. Also, a lot of times in F1 in the years past, you'd ride on a little motorcycle away from the thing, like the back. I remember in the early 2000s, you always see like Rubens Barrichello or even Michael Schumacher when he had issues. Ralph Schumacher would be like on a little back of a moped getting driven back by a corner worker to the pits. I was like, oh, okay, that's how it works. One thing we didn't mention, actually, our old buddy, Carson Hocevar, once again in the headlines. During an interview, he has the crew chief of Zane Smith, Ryan Bergenti, come up to him and basically say, why are you wrecking my car? You drive like an idiot. Carson obviously had basically just made a mistake that so many other drivers made. Chase Briscoe made mistakes in that race. I want to say Denny and someone else made a mistake. There was a couple that would get loose and just would go up the racetrack. That's the nature of Iowa and the way it's designed and what they were fighting this past weekend. Nonetheless, instead of saying, I'm sorry, that sort of thing, he says, take a ticket, basically. Like, get in line. I kind of like, as a viewer, I'm like, hell yeah, that's cool, man. Stay you.
I don't mind that.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind that.
I'm like, hell yeah, I like this. I was like, this kid's not backing down. I love it. So
well, at some point, you do have to like just
reality check what happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like you're just done fielding the calls, and it's like, so
yeah,
done explaining yourself. That's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that, and a little bit of the like you're eventually gonna have a little bit of a moment of clarity that just says like, I'm making this harder on myself than it needs to be. I can probably play this game smarter, not harder, right? And unfortunately for us as viewers, that's a moment where they it becomes a little bit more vanilla and stale. But when you have these moments of a driver who's fast, running up front, and not afraid to, get in altercations and not back down from it, it's a fun time. It's always fun to watch. So keep it up, Carson. We support you. And there's been some couple things that have happened in the NASCAR world in the last 2 weeks that we should dive into quickly. Just driver movement, sensor stuff in Xfinity and trucks. In Xfinity, Josh Williams was let go from Kaulig Racing, who then looked like they had their fastest cars in a while the next weekend, with Hocevar qualifying in the top 5 in that 11 car. And they had some serious speed in the race amongst all 3 of their cars, which was interesting. Also, we saw that Stuart Friesen got injured in a dirt racing accident, unfortunately.
How's he doing?
I think I haven't seen the latest update, but it seemed like he was making progress. He'll be out for the rest of the season. Through that, we had Hayden Honeycutt was announced that he was being let go from. They were parting ways with Nice because he signed with Toyota for next season, or that's the speculation is Toyota. And Nice basically said if he signed with someone else, we're going to do something else. I presume, and I don't know exactly, and I'm sure I'll find out this weekend, but I presume that's because he was getting help by Chevy, particularly. They might be I guess they're a Chevy key partner at this point. And, even though he's 6 in points, I think they kind of felt like if you're going to move manufacturers, especially when you're in the lower rungs, if you're in Cup, there's a lot more at play. There's a lot more partners involved, bigger numbers, that sort of thing. You wouldn't particularly make this change the way they have. There is actually also just, in terms of the success of the team is worth a lot more than the actual funding at times in terms of, what the sponsorship funding is and that sort of thing. Whereas in trucks and Xfinity is just the money that's coming through the door from outside sources is far more important than the prize money and the finishing position. So I'd assume that was some sort of money-based decision. Nonetheless, he will be in the 52 truck for Stuart Friesen to finish out the season in. And I don't know. AJ, do you know what he's driving at Watkins Glen to keep his playoff eligibility?
I think he's driving the young motorsports truck.
Got
the
it.
O2 maybe.
That makes sense. Okay. So he'll be in the O2.
Also, Stuart Friesen, his Twitter just put out an update. He is back at home as of a half hour ago. So,
wow. All right. Good for him.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That was a gnarly wreck that we saw. Really gnarly. I hate that for him. Does a lot of racing, a lot of dirt racing. He's a cool dude. So I hate to see that happen. But glad he's at least making recovery and out of the hospital. So of those movements, any catch your eye there? I think people were confused about this Honeycutt one. And
a little bit.
Okay.
I guess I don't have to dwell on it too much, but just at its surface, I was like, I you typically follow the money, right? Is a good way to process this. So I do wonder, first of all, who is paying for Honeycutt's ride at Nice? Right? Was it Chevy paying for it?
At least a portion, probably. Maybe not the whole thing. It'd be pretty surprising if it was the whole thing. They haven't really done that in the past. Well, go ahead. Well, one more thing I want to throw in there.
It's like most of these deals, I mean, unless he must not have had much of a contract or anything with what he was doing with Nice, because it's like, if you're Caden, unless he's got a ride lined up, and this is just one of those like lame duck year end of the season, they're gonna put him in a Toyota's gonna put him in a car or truck in the next couple of weeks. So it's like, yeah, let's just cut, just cut ties and get an early start on our new deal. But like, if this is Caden brought funding for a full-time ride, and then, but he's going a different direction next year, but he's had a contract and brought the funding, that definitely makes me wonder like how they were able to sever that relationship and why Caden would agree to leave. I don't know. That is kind of interesting.
Well, having been 5th in points in the Truck Series back in 2012 for Brad Keselowski Racing at the halfway point of the season, post that race, having a meeting with Brad where we decided to part ways, knowing this intimately, this exact thing, I can tell you that, it just obviously always comes down to dollars and cents and what the future direction is. And back to what I said earlier, there's really no incentive. The incentive for winning in Xfinity or trucks and prize money wise is minuscule compared to what the outside funding sources are. So it's really, even if, where you are on the points and that sort of stuff is not a massive sell point. I will say this, if he were to go win the championship driving for multiple teams, he would be the first to do it in a very long time. And maybe the first ever in the truck series, particularly. I know because when I moved teams, I ended up finishing 5th in points, but I was damn near in the championship contention 2 races to go. And I was like, well, has anyone ever won a championship on 2 different teams in a season? And I want to say I would have been the first, or there was one other that had done it. So I can't think of anyone that's done it since. That would be a pretty impressive achievement if you're able to do that. So be cool. What are we missing there? Anything else on your mind?
No, of those moves that were made. No, I mean, Josh Williams and Kaulig. Did you hear? I don't really know what's going on there.
I'm not surprised. I don't think that worked out either of the 2 years for either side. So I
Do
think.
you think it was like a? I mean, because that's a deal where obviously Josh was there because he brought sponsorship.
Yep.
Right. So, but I know Josh has a really, really close relationship with his sponsor. So, is it something where you think they get to a point where they're just like, you know what, we're not having fun anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And
Something along
Kaulig was
those
probably like,
lines.
we're not either.
Yeah. And let's make moves. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see where Josh pops up. I'm sure he'll get back in a race car here soon. And it's never fun to see things go that path, but sometimes, I know talking to some individuals surrounding that, there was a lot of, I would say, consternation around that deal. So in the last couple months. So I wasn't incredibly surprised that it had some result like this. We'll see. And it's going to have a slew of cup drivers in that car for the next couple weeks. Obviously, until the playoffs start, in which case,
they're going to have to call me.
They're going to have to call you. Let's go. I mean, this guy here, we got an average finish of 3.2 right now.
That's 2 races, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. 500 starts in NASCAR and an average finish of 3.2 in most recent races.
Trending
the right way. Yep. Exactly. So, well, what's your plans for the summer break for us?
I'm going to be going to Chicago a couple times. We're going to go to a Cubs game next week. Going to go to Boston here pretty soon. So I got some traveling coming up. Not really summer vacation type stuff, but summer's almost over in the Castle house. Kids are starting school. So,
what time?
I get
when do they wait? They start mid-August?
End of August.
Oh, okay.
August 25th, which that's
I hated when school started before Labor Day. It just felt sacrilegious. I couldn't understand it.
I think it's a state law in Iowa that school can't start until after the Iowa State Fair.
No way.
I'm not joking.
I love that. Good on them. Good on them.
So once the fair's over, they start school.
Summer, people keep trying to take away from summer. They're creeping it back and back. It's like soon my birthday won't even be in the summer anymore. Summer's my favorite season. So I'm just like, this is ridiculous. What do you people do?
Yeah, I love summer.
We got to keep our summers. It's the good times.
But yeah, we got some travel coming up. Should be fun. Wrap up. It's been a busy summer. We've traveled a bunch.
Good times. All right. AJ.
What about you?
Well, real quick, I just want AJ, have we missed anything I wasn't thinking of?
Let me refer to my list.
By the way, AJ. I want people to see what happens when we're just left to our own devices without Josh and how this all comes together. You're just hearing the raw way this show is made today.
Well, we did change a little bit.
We did change our flow as well. We've tried to do some cost cutting.
We got a new tech stack here at the Money Lap.
Sam Mayer got the first win for Haas Factory team.
That's right.
Did we touch on that?
We did not. No, we touched Xfinity, but we never even mentioned that.
It helps to talk about who won.
Hey, congrats, Sam Mayer and Haas Factory team for the first win. Man, you know who I thought of all this? I'm happy for Sam, even though he took some wins from me last year and in 23, which we joke about often. But I feel for Sheldon Creed, man. Like another place, neither of them had won. We're this far in the season. Sam Mayer gets the win. Sheldon still winless.
Oh, so close.
Yeah. It's just, I have weekends where I pick him to win. I'm like, this is going to be it. I feel it. This is the weekend. And then it just doesn't materialize. And I'm like, man, this is a tough pick going forward. Like I can't, I don't know if I can do it anymore. I don't know if there's...
Where's the next race that you're going to pick Sheldon?
Maybe Daytona. Maybe. I'd think that's one.
Darlington?
He was damn fast there a year ago. Or early,
a couple years ago. He's been fast there.
He is fast. He's very fast.
Portland. He's pretty good at Portland.
He's good at Portland. That could be one. He's good at Watkins Glen. Could be this weekend. That's going to be tough. I think SVG ends Ocher.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Tough.
And the other problem is like Portland, you're just gonna be like, okay, Connor Zilic. Bam. There's the guy to beat.
Right.
So I think it's tough. But cool for Haas Factory. They got a win. That's nice. I don't have anything else, boys, in terms of this stuff. You already know my plans for our summer break. We're like F1, we're taking time off. And oh shit. Hey, did you text Kyle?
Oh shoot. I forgot to check my phone. He's called me 8 times.
And he was supposed to be on right now. We were going to surprise everyone before the break that we'd set it all up, but you didn't check it.
I had my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, Kyle. I'll call him back.
It's going to have to be after the summer break. So we are sorry. Kyle Busch will not be on the Money Lap today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, AJ Henderson, Josh Mendoza, Brett Worsham, everyone who makes this possible. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Peace. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Money Lap. If you like this show, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it with friends. We want to spread the word of great motorsports shows, of which we're somewhere up and around there. I'm not exactly sure where, but nonetheless, you can also reach out to us anytime on across social media or at our website, themoneylap.com, or at our email, friends@themoneylap.com. And of course, you can always leave us a review. 5 stars gets you on this very show. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Goodbye.